Nehemiah chapter 8, verses 9 through 12 in the New American Standard Bible. Then Nehemiah, who was the governor, and Ezra, the priest and scribe, and the Levites who taught the people, said to all the people, "This day is holy to the Lord your God. Do not mourn or weep." For all the people were weeping when they heard the words of the law. Then he said to them, "Go and eat the fat, drink of the sweet, and send portions to him who has nothing prepared. For this day is holy to our Lord. Do not be grieved, so the joy of the Lord is your strength." So the Levites calmed all the people, saying, "Be still, for the day is holy. Do not be grieved." All the people went away to eat, to drink, to send portions, and to celebrate a great festival, because they understood the words which had been made known to them. This pericope of scripture follows a portion where Ezra was reading the scripture to the Israelites, teaching from it right after they returned to Jerusalem from an exile. The people were originally weeping over what they heard, but it quickly turns to celebration with food and wine in the section we just read there. I think wine. Dr. Reverend Leah Robinson, how do you think we could tell, like, when the proper response to theology, scripture, teaching, whatever, is celebration rather than remorse? Because I know sometimes maybe remorse is good.
Well, when wine's involved, clearly. Anyone who's like a hardcore inherent Bible person and doesn't think that we should drink wine, I feel like has a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think them being out of exile, I think, is a really important part of this, because they had sort of accepted. It's when one accepts that your life is just a life of oppression, and a lot of people do that, and so it's really hard to snap people out of that. And I think we see that in the day-to-day now. It's actually really hard to be, I would say, a minister in 2026 because every day is sort of doom and gloom. There doesn't seem to be a light. And so I think that you have to have a group of people to sort of say, no, like, this is not what life is all about. This is what we've been living, and it is not discrediting your experience. But today we are going to take a moment. We're going to take a break from that, and we're going to drink, and we're going to eat, and we're going to eat more than we should, and we're going to drink more than we should, and we're going to have a good old time in community. And it's not forgetting it. It's just saying that this isn't all that life is. And so when I hear that scripture, that's what I really think about is, it's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel like the world is against you and that things are not going well, because a lot of times they aren't. But take a break, find a friend, good segue, and have some wine.
Yeah. They call her Reverend because she can preach, if you didn't know. Hey guys, welcome to the Whole Church Podcast, possibly your favorite church unity podcast, possibly not, which is cool because, you can't have unity podcasts that are like competing over the other unity podcasts, which of us are least polarizing, because then it's like, it just seems self-defeating, right? Anyway, I'm Joshua Noel, one of the hosts. Usually I'm only here to introduce the other host, TJ Tiberius Juan Blackwell, the greatest co-host of all time, Pod Almighty. But Pod Almighty has forsaken us. Why have I been forsaken? I don't know. But
I'm really good placement, though.
Yeah. I'm forsaking him next week, so it's fine. You guys will hear more about that later. But today I am with the one and only, two and only hosts of Theology on the Rocks, two of my favorite people to get to talk to. Princess, Reverend, Doctor, a bunch of other adjectives, Leah Robinson, and only Doctor, Kristy Whaley. I am so excited to have you guys here. I've been listening to Theology Rocks for a long time, and today we're going to talk about their podcast, some about the other stuff they do, and how their podcast is on the Anazao Podcasts Network. And we might compare it to some of the other shows, just out of curiosity. Where are the similarities? Where are the differences?
On the street and put us in a bag, and now we're here.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, it was.
Yep. We were just lounging around on the street.
Honestly, the way it happened on my end was like we had a few other shows we were reaching out to see if anybody wanted to join the network, and I think Christian or Brandon or somebody was like, "You really like Theology on the Rocks? Are they on a network?" And I'm like, "They're huge. They're awesome. They're definitely on a network." I was like, "Well, you might as well ask. Like, what could it hurt?" And I was like, I guess I'll ask to see." And I think y'all are the first ones to respond, and I was like, "That's the one that I didn't think was going to respond to me because they're too important."
No. We have many
No,
other
I was
film
wrong.
books, but we also have a lot of time on our hands.
Which is great. Which is
We
great.
teach.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're also some of my favorite. Like Leah and I've admired y'all for a long time, but I remember the time that I first considered Leah a friend is because we were both kind of drunk at Theology beer camp and talking about why Rey actually is an awesome protagonist in the Star Wars sequels.
Oh yeah, we
And
did. Yeah.
and this is just the beginning of us angering Christian Ashley if he's listening to this. That's like maybe our side goal for this episode is to just poke at him.
Is he just doesn't
Church
like,
unity,
he doesn't like
except for
Rey?
today, we're gonna poke at. He hates the sequels as a whole.
Oh,
Just
Oh.
everything about them, I think. Yeah.
He's
Although
mentioned
I
that,
do-
and I didn't understand it because he's like, "All right, everybody, take a drink now," or something on one of our recordings. I was like, "Are we just drinking?" Because I mean, I will, but
Yeah.
what do we?
Nobody's
What do
a
we
fan.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. I do know he doesn't like Rey, but I think it's because he thinks Rey is like one of those characters with no flaws, and I think he might be wrong. But
She
that's
kissed
for our other podcast
Kylo
called
Ren at
Systematic
the end.
Ecology.
That's a flaw.
True,
not
that was
Kylo.
so
Yeah.
cringe, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But again, I'm here with Dr. Reverend Leah Robinson. She is a professor of religion at Mercer University. And we're also here with Dr. Kristy Whaley, who's an assistant professor of religions at St. Petersburg College. I'm without TJ, so we're already off the rails, and I don't know how to do his parts, which is most of the intro, so I apologize, guys. Go to our website, purchase one of our t-shirts. Getting the t-shirt helps promote the show. It raises money for the podcast and gets word out about the show. Like, it accomplishes a lot with a simple action. One of my favorites is called I don't remember what it's called. It might be called like the Irish Trinity knot. It might be all it's called because it has the Irish Trinity knot on it, and I think it's awesome because I like
awesome.
that. It's just
Stuart
a
made
cool
me
symbol.
a T-shirt with my avatar for.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked really
You should
cool.
put that up because it's pretty cool. I'm
Yeah.
very biased.
We should have one that just has like all that different avatars, so people could just pick one, their favorite
That would be a
host, and
great
get it.
shirt.
done.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but that's our other show, Systematic Ecology. If you guys want to head over to the Anazao Podcast Network, you can see Theology on the Rocks, Systematic Ecology. I mentioned Christian Ashley, so we'll say Let Nothing Move You. You can listen to that too, and like 5 other shows he's on, because as much as I like to pick at him, Christian is awesome and does a lot of podcasts, and he's a good friend and a nice person, even if I disagree with him about a lot of things, including Star Wars. So, there you go. Yeah, he also has a show like Why I Don't Like, so I'm sure eventually he'll talk about why he doesn't like Star Wars on that.
I'll be on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can be on there.
Well,
Yeah,
since we've
fascinating.
already been so serious, we've just been so
Always
serious, I think it's time to get into a silly question to kind of like,
break the
ease
ice.
all
Yeah.
this tension here. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
We
So much
always start with a silly
like that.
question. I think it's the greatest form of unity is silliness.
I love
And
it.
instead of a question, I really did like a whole segment for this because I was like, there's no way we'll get off the rails. I might as well do something that will keep us, will make certain that we do get off the rails.
Yeah.
Like I
yeah.
was worried that we wouldn't get off. So I made
You would be
questions.
so
Yeah.
focused and serious.
First thing I
that you
really
If I
only-
didn't have this, we
Yes.
would be too focused. Yeah.
No.
So here it is. Instead of a question, it's a assignment we're all gonna do, and I'll go first. Give you guys
Yeah.
time to think about it. We're gonna pair a wine with your favorite book, a beer with your favorite show, and a cocktail with your favorite TV series. I think picking my favorite book is probably the hardest of all of these for me.
Ooh.
So
Kristy's gonna pull Christian and be like, "Well, I have 4."
I will make it one. I will pick. I will.
I'm gonna go with my favorite book. I'm gonna say is Alice in Wonderland, but I'm including Through the Looking Glass because
Yeah.
it's just all amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like it just needs to be something like exotic and weird. So if I'm gonna go with a wine for that one, I've seen an apricot wine once. I didn't try it, but I should have, and I think that would go really well with it because it kind of like that feels kind of British and kind of like zany. So I feel like that
Yeah.
works. Favorite show? There's a lot I could say. I'm gonna go with Scrubs because they're about to do the renewal, and I love
Yeah.
Scrubs so much. If I'm picking beer for Scrubs, it can't be like a real manly beer or like
No.
like what I usually drink like dark stouts, but I feel like that's too like
Too
too
manly.
strong.
for TV.
Yeah. So I feel like it needs to be something like light, maybe fruity. So I'm gonna cheat, and instead of a beer, I think it would be either like a sour or a cider.
Mhm.
So maybe like a hard apple cider. I feel like would probably
That's perfect.
be good for
Yeah.
Scrubs.
Yeah.
Cocktail with my favorite. Oh wait, I did this wrong. Instead,
Maybe.
okay, cocktail
Maybe.
with your favorite movie is what that was supposed to be. That's okay. Josh can edit this. That loser. Okay, cocktail with your favorite movie. I still think my favorite movie is Kingdom of Heaven, even though I know there's a lot of anti-Christian rhetoric in it, but it's fine because I love it anyway. Cocktail, that's hard. I do think it should be something stronger, so maybe like a mule, but maybe like a Kentucky mule instead of a German mule, because it's still very much like you can tell that this is like American Hollywood film, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a Kentucky mule with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
These are all good
Who wants to go next?
Yeah.
I'll go.
Leah,
Right,
go
Leah.
because I am
Wine.
still in
I
the
know.
book.
The reason I'm going to go is because Kristy's still thinking about that book. I know her.
All right.
So this is going to be kind of surprising, I think, to a lot of people that my favorite book is actually Jack Kerouac on the Road. Because it goes against my feminist leanings. But I read it. I love it. It just is. I can't do anything about it. And I think actually you got to have a real trashy wine for that. And I'll shout out to anybody who's ever been to Scotland for Buckfast. I feel like it's the wine. It's like fortified wine. It's like there's not really an equivalent, but it also has energy drink in it. So it's wine. Yeah.
It's got caffeine. Yeah.
This sounds crazy. I like it.
It makes people go insane. And I've drank it one time, and we were at a festival, and essentially you feel pretty good because it's like the wine chill, but you're feeling good.
Yeah.
And then if you have like more than a couple, you want to like go out and just rage against the machine. So I feel like that is perfect for on the road. It starts out okay, and then things go completely insane. Let's see. My favorite TV show is Twin Peaks, as we know. If you've listened to podcasts at all, David Lynch's masterpiece. And there is actually a brewery and I'll take a picture of it in Charlotte that has a beer. The brewery is called Petty Thieves, and it's got a beer called The End Is Near, and it's all the Red Room from and like the Giant, if you know.
That's cool.
Twin Peaks. They've just designed it as that, and they have a Twin Peaks Day that's coming up this Saturday. Well,
sweet.
Depending on when we record this, maybe not, but or it's coming. It's a Saturday. My favorite film is All the Real Girls, which is a independent film about Southern people, and I really, really love it.
So All the Real Girls.
All the Real Girls. Yeah, it has a very young Danny McBride. Weirdly, Zooey Deschanel. But the rest of them are kind of have become pretty big Southern actors. If you go to the Righteous Gemstones, a lot of them are there.
Yeah. Okay, I see it. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, but it was like the first film that I saw that really portrayed Southerners as being like, they all have these intense accents, like very, very deep North Carolinian accents. But like they're talking about like mind-blowing stuff and like really intelligent stuff. And it was like, you know, they weren't the comic relief. And I think that was, but it's also a really good story as well. And interesting about poverty and economics in this region. In terms of drinks, it has to be something that's quintessentially Southern. There's a drink actually in, I had many of them in my head, but there's a drink in Savannah called the Artillery Punch. If you've,
that sounds interesting.
It is. It is interesting. I told Kristy it's like the Savannah sort of drink of the city, but it's basically a prohibition drink. So that they just have thrown a bunch of stuff into it, and now they make it just as like a novelty drink, but it will make you feel things.
I know Savannah, Georgia. This is going to be so random. There is a burger I love that's in Savannah, Georgia, but I never remember the name of the restaurant. But I know exactly where it is in the
I love that.
And I always go and I'm like, I'm going to remember the name of this, and then I don't. Like every time, I'm like, I got to remember it this time.
There are like 5 restaurants in Denver that I love, but if you ask me the name, I'd be like, I don't know. I can just go there. That's it. But I can't remember what it's called.
Y'all got the same brain.
Yeah. Speaking of good burgers, though, Mugshots. If you're in like the Mississippi, Louisiana, any of those areas, Mugshots is great.
We started this discussion talking about Flaming Amy's as well.
We need Flaming Amy's is awesome. Track. We're starting a foodie podcast on the network right now. You're listening to it, and you just
burgers on the rocks. Except Kristy's is an Impossible Burger.
It's my turn, and I am dying because picking any of these things is very hard for me. So, but we're gonna do it. So only because it's been recently on my mind, but my favorite book for the moment is Jane Eyre. And Jane Eyre, you have to be like in a dark and stormy kind of mood / cabin or castle or something, needs to be dark and moody because it's good.
Just where we usually hang out, those dark and moody castles.
Me here in Florida, it's really dark and moody.
But so many castles and moors to hang out on.
So you want like a good, like heavy wine, and my favorite wine is Cab Sauv because they're usually bold and good for that kind of dark and stormy night. What is it? It's TV show next.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh no. My favorite TV show is we're gonna say Lost again for this
TJ
minute.
Will be happy about that.
I love Lost, and I mean, it has to be like Coors Light or something like Lost. You need
Corona.
to
Dharma beer. I feel like Dharma Initiative beer was a Coors Light.
I was gonna say like the Dharma Initiative had a beer, and it was probably just Coors, something real basic. So, and plus you don't want to get too drunk during that show, or you will have no idea what is happening or where you are or any of that.
The smoke monster comes up and you're just like, take it. Whatever.
And then my favorite movie is Dazed and Confused, which feels like I need another beer, but if it's a cocktail, it's got to be a good party cocktail. And so like I'm leaning towards Jungle Juice for the millennials out there.
I like it. Yeah.
Because that's what we would have had.
My wife introduced me to Jungle Juice. It's great.
Mad Dog 2020. I guess that's what I call it.
So on our other podcast, this is Ecclesiology, known as Josh with the Bad Opinions. And it was great because for a while we had another Josh, and he was Josh with the Good Opinions.
Oh, okay.
So I just throw out there, Josh with the Bad Opinions. Lost might be my least favorite thing I've ever seen.
That's the worst opinion.
I couldn't stand it.
Josh, that's a bad opinion.
I got like 5 episodes in, and I was like, "Why am I watching this?" Like, I just couldn't figure out why I was still watching it. So I just turned it off.
What if Kristy and I just left?
We just like, and that's it.
Well,
like,
the other
red button on the bottom of the screen, we're like, bye.
Like, bye.
Peace. The other bad opinion I have to throw out to like counter, because I feel like I was like manly beers. I like stouts. So I'm just gonna like share my other bad opinions to show how like absolutely not that, like that's just not me. I love really fruity cocktails, and like with wines, I have such a hard time with wine unless it's like super fruity and just like basically juice. And it's like, why are you even bothering, dude? Like, yeah. I know that's a terrible opinion. Yeah. Like I'm like, that's awful.
You had me on the cocktail. I'll do a fruity cocktail.
Yeah,
but
fruity cocktail is
that's bad theology.
Well, that's where I'm like I will sit there at a bar and you'll either see me like a giant like pint of like a dark beer, and I'm like, yeah, or sometimes it's like apple teeny, easy on the teeny for the scrubs.
The scrub. I was gonna say,
I love it. I'm like, it's fine.
If you had made a cocktail and TV show, you are immediately
had to be
apple teeny, easy,
zero
on the
options.
Like that's just it.
Yeah. That was the first drink I ever ordered after I turned 21. Was apple teeny, easy on the teeny.
I ordered
That's how much I like scrubs.
I went to a wedding and I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, I'm 21 now, and I was at a wedding, and then I went with this. It was anyway, big whatever. I didn't know what to order, and the guy said order a 7 and 7, and I went, I want a 7 and 7. Try to act confident. And I still honestly, I'm not really sure. I think 7 Up, but I don't really know what it was.
Seagram's, it's Seagram's and 7 Up.
Yeah. I also
Okay.
wasn't ID'd that day, and I'm still
Never-
upset about it. Like
I wasn't
just
either.
turned 21, and they didn't. Like what?
And I said it like in the most
Yeah.
like I should be ID'd way because I was like, I guess I'll have a 7.
We'll have a 7 and 7. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be TJ and get us on the rails with the first question that we're actually supposed to ask. One of the best ways we found to engender church unity, Christian unity, whatever, is to hear one another's story. So I was just wanting to see if you guys could kind of share some about your history, relationship with like church, faith in general. We've had Leah on before; she's talked some about it, but I don't think we got the full picture. But I'm gonna start with Kristy, and then we'll get I don't know, maybe the full story of Leah Robinson's relation to faith.
Yeah,
we'll see. But let's start with Kristy.
I'm a Buddhist now. So.
Perfect.
Yeah, I grew up in my parents were Christians, but they had become Christian like not terribly long before I was born, and so they weren't necessarily entirely sure of what kind of Christians they wanted to be, I guess. And so we moved churches a lot. So I didn't grow up really entrenched in any denomination. We went to a whole bunch of different ones. And then my parents, well, also, we didn't go to church during football season at all. So I thought that there just wasn't church during football season, which will tell you a lot about, me as a person. But I went to a Christian school. And so also my parents felt like that was enough church. So I wasn't really involved.
That's fair.
It was a lot of, you get a lot of church at Christian schools. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
But I wasn't in a youth group or anything like that. So I was kind of, I guess I believed in Jesus and I was like real into it personally, but not connected to any kind of church community or anything like that. Until I went to college. When I was in college, I was in Campus Crusade. And I think that was the first time that I was like, here I'm in a thing. And, but I got kicked out.
You got kicked out of Campus Crusade?
I got kicked out. Well, I got kicked out of leadership.
I didn't realize you got kicked out of it. How'd you get
kicked? I got kicked out of it. I got kicked out of leadership specifically. I was
were you smoking the whacky tobacco? It's legal in Colorado, so I'm not even being illegal.
It is legal in Colorado. It was not then, but no, I wasn't. That wasn't it. I had the audacity to tell them that I thought their Bible studies were stupid.
Okay. That'll do it.
That'll
do it.
Yeah.
Because they only had, and this might just have been my chapter. I don't really keep up with it, but they only had one Bible study and you had to do it every year. And so it was the same Bible study every single year. And I was like, this is pointless. I don't want to do this again. And I was taking a class that was a night class during the time that my Bible study met. And they told me that I needed to drop the class so I could go to Bible study. And I told them that was incorrect. So essentially they told me I could either drop that class or I could no longer be part of leadership. And I was like,
good for you. Good job.
So after that,
by the way,
I again kind of found myself not really rooted into church. I didn't find a church that I really felt did much in terms of like helping me spiritually until after I went to seminary, and I didn't really go to church during seminary, if I'm being very honest. But again, I was in seminary.
Seminary is your church when you're in seminary.
Like you're in seminary.
You're in seminary.
And then when I moved to Glasgow, I needed a place to go and make friends and feel connected because PhD programs in the UK can be a little isolating. And so I found an Episcopal, it's a Scottish Episcopal church called St. Mary's. And I made really amazing friends there. And I also kind of rediscovered, or I guess maybe discovered for the first time, a feeling that like church did something for me. And I really like all of the high church elements and the kind of routine and the connection to history and stuff like that. So
And the
very
wine.
fun.
Yeah,
And wine. And we had a lot of Prosecco, and they had a glitter cannon that we would shoot at the portrait of
What?
Mary on Easter.
All
So
those high church
Wait,
events
for real?
that happen.
yeah,
Crazy.
it was great.
Okay.
I can send you a video.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I grew up Pentecostal, and I really love high church now.
Yeah.
I still love my my Pentecostal roots and church unity stuff, but yeah, when I was at Wilmington also went to Crew, but like I went to their regular services because that's where the pretty girls were, and then like I went to the Bible study once and was like, and then I started going to a different Bible study because I didn't like theirs at all. And
Yeah.
that's actually where like the group I would do like the weekly small group meeting stuff is where me and Christian really connected.
Oh, okay.
Ironically.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I don't have a bad story about that experience, even though I'm not conservative Christian anymore. Christian is still conservative Christian and does have bad stories about
that's
that group,
funny.
but that's
Yeah.
his stories to tell, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I made a lot of wonderful friends while I was in Crusade, and that I'm still friends with to this day, but we all got kicked out at some point.
I won't kicked out of something
stories,
together
but
really brings, builds bonds.
there's a lot of bonding. Yeah. I won't tell their stories about it at the moment, but there's some fun ones. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Leah, it's your turn. I think when we've had you on before, you've gave us little like snippets of how like you at one point were in a Baptist church and some of your teaching stuff where you've been at colleges, but I don't think we ever just like heard your story. I don't even know if I've just heard your story because it's very rare.
You and
that
I
I'm like,
probably
hey bud, what's your story?
drank red wine and we're like, we love Ray and here's my story.
Who knows?
Like
Who knows what
probably...
came up?
Well,
this is very late that day.
It was. And also I will say Kristy was outside and I remember it was you and Nick Holt inside and all this stuff was happening outside I found out much later.
This was that night. There was a lot going on that night.
You and I were having a
places.
wholesome conversation about Star Wars, and
That's
outside
outside.
Something else was happening outside. And then later Kristy was like, "Oh my gosh, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Me and Joshua were just being really sweet inside and talking about Star Wars." I don't know.
I feel like the inside party was like a really serious, like, community building party, and the outside party was like
we talked about our partners a whole bunch.
Was like dazed and confused. Like it was like
truly
full on.
Well, I for those who don't know, I'm like ADHD, and I feel like I present like I'm an extrovert, but I'm very introverted, and I push myself every beer camp. Like it's really hard for me to do those events. So I was outside for a while and drinking, and I was talking to Nick, and I heard some stories, and it was like wild, and I'm like, this is a lot of fun. And then I eventually got to where I'm like, I've drank too much to be able to handle this many people. And then I went inside.
See, my husband has a very similar personality to yours, Joshua. Kristy's met and can attest to this. Yeah. So I'm fairly used to like talking to people who have, and you came in and I could tell your battery was at like 2. So I just was like,
yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I was gonna go into bed, but then I was like, this is Dr. Leah Robinson. How often am I gonna get a chance to talk to? Like, I really did. Like in my head back, especially then, I was like, I'm not gonna get to just talk to Leah whatever I want. Like, there's no way this is happening again. And then now I feel like we're friends, and it's great.
We are friends. You're in my phone, which
that's awesome.
That says a lot. Yeah. Your name is in my if you are in the geeks, as I call you, and actually, Will is texting me right now. I can see it on my computer. That's
so funny.
He's still trying to organize that thing that's going to be 4 weeks away.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I would not believe that I have you and Tripp's number in my phone. I would be like, you're on something and maybe need help.
Oh,
and here we are. And it's
here's the deal. And this is a testament to you, Joshua, is that not everyone's in my phone and I don't respond to everyone. And honestly, Kristy will tell you, if you get a response from me within like 48 hours, it means that I actually really like you.
Oh,
this is fact.
Thank you.
This is just true fact.
I'm honored.
Yeah. So, anywho, so yeah, I grew up in Georgia. We've talked about that, I think, in North Georgia. And I came from a long line of religious people. So this was not really like, I mean, it's North Georgia. So like there wasn't really a choice, probably like you, Joshua, I'm guessing, is that you just were born. It's very David Copperfield. You were just in the church. So there's only 2 churches in my town, and that was the Methodists, who are the dirty, dirty liberals, and then the Southern Baptist. So we went to the Southern Baptist church growing up, and my parents, I will say, were pretty like their religion was almost being Southern more than it was being religious, if that makes sense. Like, you didn't really have to be evangelical because no one was anything else. Like. It wasn't really that. But they cared a lot about like appearances and like how you presented and that kind of thing. And so while it may be through the lens of religion, it was a lot more like, you know, being this person, this sort of presentation, as it were. And then I went to college and I decided I was an atheist for a while, except I was a really bad atheist because I know. It was really intense at my Christian school.
She shaved her head.
This is turning out to be like a really good like Firefly kind of movie, you know, like CCM people movie. This is what it sounded like. We can get there.
One of the only person who's ever said I look like anyone, this may be a different show, but said I look like the girl from Firefly. I had a student come in and look at me and go, you look just like that girl. And I'd never seen that show, like the space show.
I'm so sorry. Oh, I wasn't thinking like that. I used the wrong name. I said Firefly, but I was thinking of that one like, what's like Fireproof? That's what it was. That one like annoying.
Oh no,
Jesus
Firefly, like the space show
of your marriage. Yeah, the Firefly, the space show is good.
That was
different. That's a
I had a student. You know it's real when they like stop in their tracks and they look at you and they were like, it's like, oh my god, you look just like this girl. And
That's
later
awesome.
I looked and I was like, I mean, yeah, I could see it, I guess. Anyway, so I went to college. I wasn't really in the kind of, I really spent college trying to, people always talk about deconstruction, reconstruction. So a lot of my like college was like, I guess deconstruction, but like it was a very cultural religion that I was a part of. So it was more just like, I drank alcohol and I did other things that, you know, was not perhaps what we were supposed to do. And so, you know, it was all of that sort of stuff. So then I went, I had a professor named Rob Nash, and he taught me, and I was a psych major because I didn't want anything to do with religion. And he was like, you're really good at this. You need to be a religion major. So I ended up double majoring. And then he was like, you should go. I got into UGA to study psychology for a master's. And he basically was like, I'll get you a full scholarship if you go. He didn't say that, but he was like, we'll get you funding because that's illegal to say what I just said. But he was like, I bet we could get you funding if you go to Mercer, hilariously enough. And so he did. I applied and I got funding and I went to Mercer and then just kept on. I fell in love with theology and history of religion and stuff like that. And so I kept on and went and got my PhD. And now, hilariously, I co-teach with Rob Nash at Mercer University.
Awesome.
I've come full circle. So, yeah, I mean, my relationship with religion it's just always been there. It's sort of like this thing. It has been more of it's less of a negotiation about whether God existed or not, or whether I was a part of the system, and more about learning for myself. Because at one stage, I remember he told me, and this is what got me. He said, if you want, because I was like, I hate all of this stuff that's so oppressive to women. They tell me I can't preach. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm smarter than most of these guys. Like, this is so dumb. And he goes, well, you can't fight the system if you don't know the system. And I remember I was like, you're right. I'm going to go and get a PhD in theology. So anytime anyone comes in here and says, the Bible says that you can't talk, I'll be like, well, let's chat about that.
Yeah.
Let me get my professor hat, or that you can't do blah, blah, blah. And he was right. And so here I am.
Yeah. TJ and I have talked about this a few different times on the show because it's like, it's so weird to us because we grew up like very conservative Pentecostal, but it's like church got a prophecy. And because we grew up in it, it wasn't weird to us. But now I'm like, man, it's so strange because it's like biblical inerrancy, all this stuff, but they have women pastors, and it's just never was a question for us. And then we started hearing it from other people, and we're like, What do you mean? My
Well, these
pastor's been a girl
denominations,
my whole life.
they
How do
pick and
you-
choose. Like if I started like
Yeah.
raising my hands above my waist in my Southern Baptist church, people would think I was possessed by the devil, which in your church is
Yeah.
probably very common.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, even I think with me,
encouraged.
Yeah.
because I was never rooted in church, but I never even went through an atheist phase. I was like, God is real and I love Jesus. I don't know about all these other people out here. I don't know about connecting it to an organization, commitment issues. So commitment issues both to choosing a book and also to choosing a church.
She's bad at choosing things. Her and
choosing
Christian
is not-
be on
I
a
don't-
podcast. It'll be 5 hours long.
I don't like
That's
making
so funny.
decisions, but like, yeah, it wasn't so much that I didn't ever know what I believed in God. That was always fine and well and good. But it was like every time I just felt like churches were, weird or doing things that was because of them and their particular ideas, but like wouldn't make any sense somewhere else.
Until she saw the glitter cannon, and then it all made
I saw that glitter cannon and I was like, you guys know my soul and I am here.
Yeah, I mean, I think all denominations are picking and choosing, and the idea that they're not is, I don't think, like, even historically, like, you could argue that they're not. Like,
some are just self-aware.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Some are.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, people say, I didn't go through the high church phase that y'all two did, even though I grew up in low ritual church. I find the high church to be, it just doesn't fit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pomp and circumstance. So I don't like that. But I also don't like the happy clappy. Like, I would not do well in a Pentecostal church either. I have to find like a middle between that somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting because like with TJ and I think had that, like, that's culture. That's what it is. So I don't feel like he got like, to him, he never had like a toxic environment with the church. So he's able to be still that Pentecostal thing, still have different beliefs than them. And it's like, it's fine. It's not like a big deal. But like, I was very much, because I'm someone who hyperfixates. It's part of like ADHD stuff. In like the Pentecostal circles I was in, because I was in Assemblies of God for a little bit before I went back to Church God of Prophecy. And it's all like emotion driven, all this stuff. And I was very much like, I kind of had like a Paul moment, I think, in the last like few years. Because I was the one that was like, hell is real, and you guys are telling me lying is a sin, and he just lied. What are we doing? We're just letting people go forever and eternity. And like, I was freaking out all the time about it. And then eventually I started learning better theology and calming down a bit. And then I say better theology. Unity. I people who disagree, it's fine. But for me, I think it's better, in my opinion. It seems to be smarter to me. But
I mean, I did write a book.
It's helped me a lot, and I've calmed down a lot, and that's where I had to go to a different church.
Yeah.
And I just happened to know Will, and I'm like, man, I could be in Will's church. What do you mean? So
yeah.
I mean,
I would love Lutheran.
The Lutherans, I feel like, are a good, maybe that in between I was talking about. Like, there's a little
I love
bit.
it.
Yeah.
Lutherans seem to be like, we care a whole lot, but we don't necessarily care if you want to care. Like, if you don't want to care, that's fine. Like,
I
we're
took
not pushy, I feel like.
I took it was like a personality test, but it was going to tell you what denomination you should be in. And it said Lutheran because you value intellect and like, those kinds of things. And I was like, okay, so the Lutherans are the smart ones. And that's
They're
always
also the
how
ones that drink the most beer.
They do drink the most beer, and I love them. I just have never found a Lutheran church that I've like. I
don't know that I've even been to one, so I'm talking out of my.
Well, it is a good middle road. They're not.
Just go to Chapel Hill and visit Will's church.
I was gonna say, if Will Rose, I will go to Will Rose's church. Whether it's he wants to happy clap, I will happy clap all down the aisle.
That would be an interesting thing to see, but that's off the rails again.
Yep.
Trying to be TJ. I am so.
We're doing it again. It's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna package some questions together. So you guys have Theology on the Rocks. It's now part of the Anazao Podcast Network. Super exciting. Just curious if you guys
happy to be here.
Give like a quick elevator pitch. What is Theology on the Rocks? Why did you start the podcast? And why do we still do it? I love it. So I'm glad you're still doing it.
Why did you guys laugh?
I want to know your motivations.
We both laughed the same way when you said, why do you still do it?
I don't know. Sometimes I ask that
What?
about myself,
No.
and then I'm like, now I feel
know,
like I'm
but
too involved to quit.
It was because Kristy and I are the same person, basically, and so we both laughed at the same way at the same thing.
I'm gonna tell you what motivated me, because it was originally I reached out to Leah and I was like, we should do this, and I'm gonna tell you very honestly that it was because I had just watched a bunch of episodes of Drunk History and I thought it looked like fun, and so I was like, how can I recreate this in my life?
That's wonderful.
So that was really what, like,
I forgot that. That's so sweet.
I was like,
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
I want to make a podcast that's drunk history, but we're theologians, so we'll just talk about theology instead. And she was like, sounds great. I'm there for it. So that is the story of how it started.
I love it. I love it.
Real and depth.
Ironically, Whole Church is like accidentally, I feel like, has been a picture of my like deconstruction, reconstruction stuff, because like I started it right after I got like kicked out of ministry because I was, whatever stuff. And I was like, I still need to do ministry. I have like this itch. And I'm like, we'll just do a podcast about unity. That'll be super easy. I won't get in trouble. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. And here we are 7 years. And
I've never been
unity
kicked
isn't
out of
easy.
anything
Unity is
like
hard.
Unity
and
is
not a
hard. Yeah.
quick topic to talk about.
I know.
Yeah.
I did say something whenever I was on a podcast with Trip Fuller and Tom Ward. I said he was saying he got kicked out of a church for affirming LGBT stuff, and I was like, well, at least you got kicked out. I never got let in to preach as a woman. And then it just got really quiet, but I was like, oh, that was supposed to be kind of a joke. But everybody just got really, if you listen to that podcast, everybody goes quiet. And I was like,
I love those moments where you think it's a joke and everybody else takes it really serious.
well,
happens to me a lot because I have a
processed
dark
it
sense
now.
of humor.
I'm ordained, so I've gone through it. But I realized like some people are like, oh, that is bad. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But,
It's both bad. Yeah. No, but I think too, like, why we still do it is because Leah and I just want to hang out and talk to each other all the time.
for sure.
I get that.
We
This is
actually
fun.
are.
We
I get it.
assume that there are two people listening. I just need you to know that, like, we have very low expectations of ourselves, I guess, or
When you
like
assume
what the
that, are you
podcast-
factoring me in? Like in your mind, am I half of your audience?
Yeah, essentially.
I know, you and
Like we're doing
Brian-
this
you
for
and
Josh
Brian-
Noel.
You and Bryant Burkhardt are the two.
we were like, Bryant listens to us,
I
and
know
then
Bryant does because he sends this message.
he'll be like, I
That's
listen
so
to your
funny.
podcast today and here are my thoughts. It's great. I love it. Keep doing that, Bryant. But like, yeah, we just assume that it's like an audience of two, and so it's really just an excuse for us to chat to each other.
And then we look at the numbers and we're like, oh God.
Well, and then people will come up to us and be like, I listen to your podcast. And if you ever have said that to us and you immediately thought that we looked horrified, it's because that's a moment where we realize that people are listening to
We're
the
not just
podcast.
talking to each other
That's so
anymore.
funny.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is on the internet.
That's so funny. Well, I do
We
this for
love
an
all of our
audience of
listeners.
one.
We're very glad for them, but we just don't know
Yeah,
you're there.
absolutely. For sure. But that should give you a little insight into the podcast. Is that
Yeah.
the podcast is about theology. We do have a drink that we have each week. We used to take suggestions. We still do, except some of y'all are sadists and
Yeah, we got some bad
want us to
suggestions.
die.
Yeah.
So, but we chat the way that Kristy and I chat if we're in the same room. That's why we don't really edit. Well, we don't edit it.
we don't.
Because
We don't know how.
I want it
Also,
to sound like if you're Joshua Noel and you meet one of us at beer camp, you would have the same conversation that you're hearing on the podcast, and that's the real hope. And sometimes it's very theology heavy, and then sometimes it's I think a couple weeks ago we just talked about the fact that I got bored during a snowstorm and Stuart cut all my hair off
Yeah. I
for
love
like
that one.
45 minutes. I was like,
talked about that for a while. I feel like too, one of the goals that we had was realizing that a lot of our friends find us, like, when they ask theology questions and we're a little tipsy, that we're more entertaining to listen to than if we're like in teacher mode. And so we were like, well, if we just make it a super casual podcast, we can either talk about theology or we can talk about, one episode, there was a lot of talk about our animals pooping. I don't know
oh my
why.
God, it
but
was the whole thing.
Sounds great.
It was a whole thing.
so you get
infamy now. about
You just
it.
get what you get because we have no other way to do that.
Well, also, people don't realize Kristy and I talk like via like chat like every day, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if we don't hear from each other, that's kind of a
It's
weird.
very bad. Yeah.
But we typically don't always see each other except for this one time each week.
Yeah.
We're like face to face. And so then we're just like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
We're also both really extroverted, and so
We
it's
are.
an immediate like feeding off of being just so excited to be
You should-
talking to each other.
You should see my husband who's a very introverted IT person. When Kristy and I are around, it's like he just fades into the wall.
He
He
does.
just goes
He's that Homer Simpson just going back into the bushes,
back into that bush.
but like in a good way. You can
And
tell
yeah,
he's
no,
like,
he loves it because Joshua, you and I were talking about this at the beginning. Is his battery gets low really quick. So for it's almost like it's like a play date for kids. All of a sudden, I get play dates now because he'll like shove me to Kristy and be like, "Y'all go play," and he's just like drinking a bourbon in the back, just being
Yeah,
like,
so
"Yep,
funny.
y'all are on your play date."
Yeah, see, my wife has a friend like that, but
Yep.
I just kind of like go to the office, edit podcasts, play on the Steam Deck, whatever. It's great.
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
need him to be present in the room though, because
Oh.
we're really hilarious.
I'm glad I
and
don't
humble,
have that.
and humble.
I know we really want people to watch us. That's the other thing. Is that we're very
We're super humble, and so we
super
need
humble.
people to
The most
witness.
humble podcast on the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It
That
is
should-
the most
you should
humble podcast.
advertise that.
And we
should put
want
that in.
someone to witness our humbleness. in
We
order-
we want there to be an
Yeah,
audience. for it.
humility that demands an audience. Yeah.
I love that. We should make a T-shirt. Humility that demands an audience.
That's perfect. It's our new
Oh, man.
catchphrase.
Oh my God, that's great.
Oh man.
So good.
Yeah. So this is
So
why y'all do
this
it.
is
This
This
is
is
some
what
fun.
we do.
This is
Yeah,
the
this
podcast,
is
yeah.
it's exactly the same. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna do 2 quick games before asking like 1 or 2 little questions, and we'll wrap up. Okay.
Okay.
So
Rude.
yeah, well, I sleep.
Like you
Oh,
edited.
man.
It's like you edited or something.
Oh man. Okay. First, I want to see how your podcast relates or absolutely doesn't relate to the other shows on the Anazao Podcast Network. So I don't even know if you all know what all shows are on there.
Sure.
I don't ever remember them all, which is terrible. I should, but I don't.
I know the one
So-
I'm on. I know the ones I'm on.
I was like,
I'm gonna
we know,
go through
we
here.
know Your Matter Matters,
Oh, we do know your matter matters. That's true.
and we know Systematic Ecology,
in the whole church podcast
and the Whole Church Podcast, obviously.
And
And
that's maybe it.
I don't know the
Okay.
titles for any of the others. Yeah.
All right,
That's
well,
fine.
I'm gonna go
do the
through.
game.
I'm gonna go through, tell you
Okay.
what the podcast is about, and you guys either tell me like find a way that your podcast relates to it or contrast to it, whatever, or just be like, yeah, there's no correlation here. It's fine.
Okay.
We're teachers,
Okay,
so we'll find a correlation, but we'll try to be
Yeah.
honest.
Whole church podcast. What we're on right now, Church Unity.
I think we also, Leah and I disagree about a number of topics, and we'll occasionally have little debates and stuff. So we like to find, where
It's like a cage match.
disagreements can still be in community, and like you can get along. So yeah, we're about unity. Unity is great.
Yeah, we're
I dig
into
it.
it.
I dig
We're
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Man. Well, let's alternate. I'm gonna throw the next one to Leah. So she's on this other podcast, Systematic Ecology. I guess it's like ecumenical work in engaging pop culture or something like that. Pop culture stuff.
Yeah, it's the worst. No connection whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Kristy and I do most of the time. Is each week we're talking about some topic that's in our lives. Of late, it's been quite politics heavy as opposed to pop culture, but we absolutely talk about pop culture too. I'm going to go see Wuthering Heights this weekend,
Me
and
too.
she wants to. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people going to be at Wuthering Heights this weekend.
Yeah, I have no desire to see it. I just love the movies, and my wife hates the smell of popcorn, so I rarely get to go to the movies. So when it's something she wants to watch, I don't care what it is. I'm going for the sake of being at the theater. Like I don't
You
care.
hates popcorn. I'm
That's
just
so
excited
sad.
It
that
makes her
I have
nauseous.
one free popcorn.
I love popcorn so much.
I love popcorn. I could eat so much popcorn.
This
You
is
guys
really
are
a
the
sweet
host of
podcast.
Theology on the Rocks, so we're gonna skip that.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Doesn't
We
seem
relate-
We
non-applicable.
have nothing to do with ourselves.
What about
Kung Fu Pizza Party is Brandon Knight talking about martial arts media. So this goes to Kristy. Is there any way you could find?
Yeah. Is
No.
that
Okay,
we
all right.
both?
Haley.
Yeah. I'm on this. We both are world religion professors, and
I know. I said we're gonna square peg around hole it no matter
and
what.
we teach about Taoism, and occasionally Taoism will come up, but it's not well. So I am gonna say mostly no, but there is the tiny connection.
Okay, all right. Let Nothing Movie. We already mentioned this. Christian Ashley going through the Bible, kind of a chapter at a time. Yeah, Bible podcast.
We talk about the Bible. It's probably not
Not the same way.
same way.
He's a far more conservative than you guys. I feel
I was
like.
gonna
Yeah.
say I don't. The Reverend
I don't know if we
Doctor says it might not
agree.
be the same way, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We do
we
talk
talk
about it.
That
about the
works.
Bible, but I think sometimes we do say we'll let the Bible scholars do that because I think we do fall back more on theology, the interpretation more than the scriptures.
That's fair. I like that we actually have multiple Bible podcasts on the network, and they're very much don't agree with one another. And I kind of like
In
that.
a world of
Gives me, like, a
PNs,
full
why do you have?
perspective.
You don't
Yeah.
need. You don't need to. People have already done
Yeah.
that. Don't go
Right.
chapter by chapter. We got commentaries for that. That whole side of this shelf.
Some people don't like to read. Okay, my seminary life. Brandon Knight started off as him going through what he's learning in seminary, and now it's just him as a continual, lifelong student of theology. Is there any way that could possibly relate?
Not at all. We don't like theology at all. No, I mean that's also basically what we do.
And
Because
both Kristy and I have been to seminary as well. So
Yeah,
we've
I
both been
think-
to seminary, so we could talk about our seminary lives. But no, like I mean, we have all of the time. One of us will be like, "Oh, I'm reading this book," and I want to talk about this, or just kind of bring it up. We've been chatting a little bit about some of the stuff that Leah is currently working on her latest book, and so bringing up different issues there. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. I think Brandon's probably just like a little right of center, and I feel like you guys, in my mind, you guys are like left of center. Like I don't think of you guys as like extremely progressive. Like I'm like you guys are progressive, but not like.
Kristy's a little.
I
I think
don't know.
Kristy's more
It
left
doesn't-
than me, but
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I think that
on some things though, because
Socially,
weirdly,
I
I'm
was
a
gonna
little
say-
bit more left than you on some.
I would say like socially or politically, I'm more left than I'm more.
Oh,
I'm
so you
left.
guys pick and
But-
choose?
But also
we sure do.
theologically,
We know we
I'm
do it.
probably a little bit more conservative than Leah is. So like, there's a lot of give and take there. Yeah.
All right. Up next, Your Matter Matters. That's Will Rose and Thomas Johnston, some Lutheran pastors, talking about faith and science, putting the "and" there.
Yeah, I mean we certainly have done that. I think the way that Theology on the Rocks works is it's not, I don't want to say haphazard, but it is kind of. But if a topic comes up that's pop culture in our minds, we mostly just chat, as I said, on the day-to-day and say like, what's coming up? Like I was talking to a friend of the podcast, Nick Polk, last night, just chatting back and forth about an article where he used some of my stuff in it.
Nice.
And about interpretation. And Kristy and I have been talking about Wuthering Heights. And then we also talk a lot about bad theology because that's the book that I wrote, and like interpretations of the Bible. So we were like, what if we all just get on and talk about why people feel like they have to have the right interpretation of things? Because all these people are going mental about Wuthering Heights. So in summary, it's whatever kind of comes into our mind in a given day. And sometimes it is science stuff, especially when we had the, a lot of stuff related to women's rights and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We also just had them on. So if you want to listen to them talk about their podcast on our podcast. Yeah, last week.
We did.
This is
We
like
chatted.
the
That was a good chat.
podcast inception. Yeah.
We were so much more organized than most
it's
of the time.
We were a little bit, yeah.
All right, up next, Friday Night Frights. Christian Ashley, Joe Day are just talking about, I don't even know how to word this right. Like sometimes it's stuff that's paranormal. Sometimes it's just like cryptozoology. Sometimes it's like murder mystery stuff. They just, I don't know. It's Friday Night Frights.
Is this my turn? Yeah.
Ryan Doze and I are already doing this podcast.
I was like, Leah loves
Impending
horror.
Doom or something. I can't remember. Dread. something Dread.
Yeah,
Something
that
dread.
sounds
He
cool.
did just advertise it, and I can't remember what it's called. But Ryan Doe's is
I
great.
can't wait for that. That's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
It's gonna be very cool. Leah is a big horror fan, and she's very knowledgeable about horror. So we talk about horror, and I love
She hates
everything to do with like spiritual stuff and like woo woo shit. Like that's
Okay. Yeah.
that's so. You want to talk about ghosts? I'll talk about ghosts with you. But if you want me to watch a horror movie, I will leave. And Leah can
I
watch.
even told her I would tell her, like, because I wanted her to watch Alien Earth. So I was like, I'll tell you when things are going to get, like, I'll timestamp it.
Oh, I still gotta watch that.
and
She's
tell-
like,
behind.
just watch these bits and pieces. And then Ryan Doe's was like, don't watch it, Kristy. And I was like, cool.
That's so funny. That's so funny. All right, up next, some joyful noises. There is no host. It's just whenever somebody sends us something or someone that's already on the network decides they want to record something about music, it just goes up. So it's a music podcast with no rhyme, rhythm, or reason.
I mean, I feel like Kristy, I don't think we have to keep going back and forth, but see, this is the organized part. Kristy actually is more organized than I am, which you would think based on how I talk. I could talk my way out of a paper bag, but like she's way more structured.
That's
You're
because I
on
have anxiety.
I have anxiety too. I just drink a lot. So, but the emogelicals, I think, is more that sort of a thing that you do. But Kristy and I both have a deep, deep love of music. And we have differing styles of music, and sometimes it's funny, our different styles, but we both hold to that very strongly. And Kristy's on a podcast that is called
Emogelicals, with Josh Patterson, which ironically, we're about to do an episode for Some Joyful Noises with Josh Patterson and I and maybe TJ talking about some Midwest
a lot of
emo
men.
music.
Emo, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited. He introduced some songs. Yeah. I mean, you guys want to join? Okay. Next is why I don't like Christian Ashley again. This is him talking about stuff that he doesn't like and going into like the substance of why he doesn't.
Does
like
he
it,
really have a podcast called Things I Don't Like?
I thought you were kidding.
Why I don't like. Yeah. No.
I thought that was a joke.
No, he goes through because he takes the time to watch it, even if he doesn't like it, and we'll go through. Like right now, he's been doing an anime, and he's like, "Here's why I don't like it," like substantially giving reasons instead of just I don't like this.
So interesting. Leah and I really like to live and joy, so I don't know that we have.
I don't know that we would.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about things we don't like.
We don't. Yeah, occasionally.
Like
but
fascism and all the isms.
Yeah, we don't like the isms, but
like murder, but we don't necessarily like relish it.
Yeah, we do like true crime.
We do.
We find ways.
We do watch a whole lot of true crime.
Yeah.
Well, what I'll say, I think he does a good job of trying to steel man the shows and stuff that he doesn't like, and then talk about why it still doesn't work for him. And I feel like I try to do that on Whole Church when it comes up because like it's hard. Would do a church unity podcast and never talk about stuff that I disagree with. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain we disagree with many.
But I also think we don't try to be very neutral about it. That's not really our vibe. I think if we don't like it, like, and Kristy and I'll disagree, but I think you're gonna know if we don't like it. And I think that's another thing about Theology on the Rocks is that we never. I appreciate what the whole church does because you're attempting the like a unity thing, and I don't think that we do that, and so it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Like I don't.
Yeah.
But I think we lived through enough, especially being women theologians and me being a minister. Like we've lived through enough of like accommodating for people who don't agree with us, and I think now we're tired of that a little bit.
Yeah, there's some conversations I'm just done having. So
although I have kept myself from saying curse words 5 times now, I've kept up in my head.
Thank you. All right, next up, it's my podcast, Be Living Water, where I talk about different media, whatever things. Right now, I've been doing like the Book of Daniel and Les Miserables, talking about it from the perspective of like Christian Taoism is, I guess, would be how I would describe that.
That's very cool. I mean, yeah. Again, I think we do a lot of that. I think we did a podcast about Barbie, right?
We did, yeah.
We did an episode about Barbie, yeah. So awesome. Like we are big fans of like something like, and like Leah just said, we're gonna have a little chat about Wuthering Heights and
Wicked. We did a whole thing.
We did episode on Wicked and
you can see
and like not just about them, but like theologically interacting with them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. The next one's the homily with Pastor Chill Will from Chapel Hill. It's literally when his producer Joshua remembers to upload his homilies. Sometimes they get put up in a podcast.
That's very cool. We don't do
Yeah.
homilies, so
We can do homilies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine.
we can get Will on to do a I could do
Yeah.
homilies
I
are so
love
much
those.
easier. And the
Will's homilies
Baptist,
are great.
I went to Baptist
Especially-
seminary, and it was like 3-point sermon, and it has to be like 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, in the homilies, you just in and
you
out.
sit up and you're like,
Yeah.
this
Last
thing.
year, Sunday fell on May the 4th. Fell on a Sunday, so Will of course has a Star Wars homily that's up there, and I had to put that on. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Amazing.
All right, the Bible After Hours starts with kind of like a little bit of a satirical piece on evangelical Christianity, and then it's more of like a progressive reading of the Bible as the show kind of goes on there. I do the voice work for that, but it's not my material, and I don't agree with everything. But I'm okay voicing stuff I don't agree with because I'm weird.
You're kind. That's nice.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I've not listened to it, but I mean, we certainly lean on a more progressive interpretation of the text. Not even I would say liberative, but that's my
I mean, definitely more liberation, progressive version of the Bible. So
Just the right version,
the correct one.
All right, last up, the newest member of the network. Actually, I think he's a little bit newer than y'all. I think.
Ooh.
Paige and Pixel. It is Paige will 1 week tell Pixel about a book she recently read, and then the next week Pixel will tell Paige about a video game that she played.
Oh, interesting.
And it's a lot of fun. They
that.
are completely off the rails and a ton of fun. They actually they kind of remind me of you guys, not like completely. I feel like they're more off the rails somehow.
Oh, that's
because they don't have that doctorate to reel them in.
It would be chaos.
Can you imagine if we were more off the rails? That sounds great. I love that.
I love it too.
People
Yeah,
about
it's
the books
fun.
I've read.
That's the most one I would probably listen to quite actively.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
anything about video games though.
I think
No.
they're both non-binary, and at least one of them has mentioned that they're non-binary on the show, and I'm like, that's really interesting. And it has me really wanting to play Silent Hill 2 because they reviewed a Silent Hill game, and then they were like, this game is
scary.
awful, but the rest of the
Christy's never
series
watched
is wonderful. And I'm like, well, I don't want to play the awful one you reviewed, but the premise sounds cool, so I want to go one of the fun ones.
Like
That's
one
so funny.
one person's awful is another person's great.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
We have another
One
game?
last game, and this
Yeah.
one's quicker because of what it is.
Oh
It
god.
is the patented whole church speed round.
Ready.
Okay.
We'll alternate again. We'll alternate again. I'm gonna ask you guys a series of questions. You have to answer in one sentence.
Yeah,
If
Kristy
you
won.
make it if it's a run-on sentence, you have to tell us the punctuation. We need to know.
No.
It's in a
Semicolon.
sen- If you don't think you can answer it in a sentence, though, you could just say skip, and that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to go first before I cue the music?
I will go first because Kristy's giving me the look of death.
All right. Here we go.
Ready.
Okay. Whew. How do you view the importance of Scripture?
Important in the sense of how you interpret it.
All right, Kristy. How would you describe the atonement theory that you hold to?
Oh, it's reconciliation atonement.
Ooh, I like it. Okay. All right, Leah. Do you believe open theism or process theology necessarily undermines classical theism?
I think these words are not words that theologians use.
That's fair. All right.
Sorry to everybody.
Okay.
We have had so
That's a
many
sentence.
debates about this.
All right, Kristy.
Classical
Is the
theism is
resurrection
Classical theism
is the resurrection historical, theological, or both?
Both.
All right. Back up to Leah.
One word.
Yeah, that's even better.
Nailed
That,
it.
that should give you 1-2 sentence. Like, yeah, I think it
Right.
earned you time.
It earns me time. Good.
Yeah. All right,
Should we
Leah.
get- let's talk
Can
about classical
Nicene
theism.
Trinitarianism survive anti-metaphysical trends?
What trends? What was the trends?
Yeah, I feel like it's.
Say that again.
I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote this.
The Trinity's
very
made.
last minute.
Can I just say the Trinity is made up?
Yeah, that's a great answer. All right, Kristy, what governs doctrine most? Scripture, tradition, or experience?
I think that it has to be a partnership between the three.
I like it. I like it. Methodist. Is deconstruction a pathway or a destination, Leah?
Pathway.
Yeah, I made these where you don't even have to use a sentence. Why'd I do that? That's cheating. All right, Kristy.
Like, I had a lot to say about process, so that
Is
I
sin
gave you one there.
personal, systemic, made up, or a combination of personal and systemic?
It is a combination of personal and systemic.
Great. Like it. I like it. I'll have you both answer the last one then. Which of the 7 sacraments, if any, do you hold to? And I have them up here if you want me to read them off.
Go for
All
it.
right. Baptism, confirmation, Eucharist, penance, anointing of the sick, holy orders, and matrimony.
Well, I feel.
What do we mean by hold to it? Like, which ones do we participate in?
Yeah. Do you participate in, or do you view as sacrament? Because we get
I
some
feel like
interesting ones with
as a
that.
I feel like the two, baptism and the Eucharist, are the two that I think are sacraments and participate in.
I mean, I think they're all also made up. So, I mean, they're lovely. They're really lovely, but they're all just social constructs. So, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are sacred in and of themselves.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
I
husband.
like it.
Sorry,
No,
matrimony.
that's great.
Love
Hey,
ya.
I hear you. What's I think's interesting is, the way that it's a lot of people will describe, especially in the Catholic Church or Lutherans, weirdly enough, it's like sacrament has to be something Jesus commanded you of, which is why Baptists are usually like only these two. Jesus didn't say the other stuff. What I love is TJ's answer is always, well, they forgot feet washing. I just love that, which is a very Pentecostal answer.
I think there's a difference between sacred, like divine sacred, and community sacred. Like, do we
Yeah.
hold these as like
that.
as a community? Do we hold these as sacred? In which case, I agree with Kristy about baptism and Eucharist. Are these actually sacred, i.e., that they have come from the top down? To me, no. But I get the response.
I mean, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that where I come in is, again, this is what I meant earlier by like tradition and scripture, because it's not just that we can see Jesus being like, he gets baptized and then he tells us to have the Eucharist, but instead that's what like the early church starts doing very actively. And so there's a tradition beginning and like continuing that is important. Whereas like marriage is great, but like not as a church, like that's not part of the church practice, So
Stuart, I'm out. Christy's more sacred anymore. I'm out.
That's so funny.
Mary in Salem.
I think it might be one of those things like inerrancy where I'm like, I'm not sure if the term sacrament's helpful, but yeah, if you're thinking of like
I
things
don't
that
know
I think
what it is.
are sacred, like I consider all of these sacred, and I agree. TJ feet washing, I also think is sacred. I've had some.
Well, and I think there's other things that we do that are sacred that aren't necessarily even on that list. So
maybe unusual.
I mean, this comes down to the definitions, and much
like
like
the poor is sacred.
The classical theism. Kristy and I just buck so much because it's not a phrase that it's been adopted.
Classical theism is not an accurate way to describe
that people have adopted. I think
I wrote that question at the speed round for this, for you to flush.
For us to get mad about it.
Exactly.
That's Josh Patterson. He gets to hear about it on the daily.
It's like, I was like, I listened to them enough. If I'm gonna do a speed round, I have to include somewhere the line.
The
phrase classical.
I made a comp. People don't. It's not a thing.
It's not. Yeah. We should at some stage do a podcast where it's just Leah and I yelling about the phrase classical theism.
On the blue shoes.
The one where y'all yell about classical theism.
One where we yell about classical theism.
Yeah.
We'll get Josh and Tom on. Well, actually,
we're gonna be like, you guys shush. we're gonna talk.
Yeah. It's much
so
like we
funny.
come full circle, much like the witness. You are going to witness our
You're gonna witness us yelling.
witness our
humility that demands an audience. Yeah.
Yes.
humility that you are our audience.
So,
And that just great the very
Oh,
fiber of
man.
your being. Because it's wrong.
so talking about Theology on the Rocks, do you guys have either a favorite episode or an episode that you were like, this really exemplifies why you should listen to our show? It doesn't have to be a favorite, I guess. But
Oh,
if you have
man.
one that you're like, this is what Theology on the Rocks is. What
She's
episode
looking
should
through.
people listen to?
I mean,
I
I
have.
think
Oh,
Yeah. Me and the dog are just trying to fill
We
dead
all-
air so you have time to look through.
we always I can do that for you. We always talk about the one where we which is always a favorite, where we banish, kill, marry. No, we banish, marry,
Banish,
date.
marry, date. I think.
Different
Mhm.
Penny, what is your problem?
Humans
what a
exist in the
good
world,
dog.
and she's mad about it.
But that one is always really funny, because when we talked about who we were going to banish, we really came together on that. And then someone asked us about it on the Hot Ones challenge. It was Tripp, Mark Driscoll, and Thomas Aquinas.
What?
And the problem was we both immediately banished Mark Driscoll, and then we were
like,
Tripp and
Mark
Thomas.
Driscoll gets banished, and then I guess we're gonna date Tripp, and now we have to marry Thomas Aquinas.
Kristy, you said you were going to marry Thomas Aquinas. I said I was going to ask Alicia if I could just like sister wife with
Co-marry, yeah,
With
abusive.
Tripp.
See, the problem is you guys had terrible choices for that. But for those who don't know, it is a common thing for TJ and I to say it's the whole church except for Thomas Aquinas. We do hate that guy. I occasionally like to add except for Thomas Aquinas and Al Mohler.
Oh
I
yeah,
do throw that one in there,
yeah.
but
Well-
that's not because of beliefs even. I'm just like, his actions are just so
No, he should go.
not Christian that I'm like, yeah, this isn't. He's also not consistent with his own beliefs, so I kind of feel like he's doing it in bad faith. And
Mhm.
I have a whole
actually-
rant, but this isn't.
I actually do
I
feel
agree
like
about him.
I feel like our episode that was really funny and like
I want
academic.
to add in Wayne Grudem to that.
But
I
I
don't
think
know him well enough.
our Wicked episodes actually, I think, highlighted a lot of the theology that we're talking about, but also like the feminine friendship energy that I think we bring, which
Yeah.
is something that I think with a lot of the podcasts that are at least on some of the I have my God Pods Network. While there are women who do certain podcasts, I think that the sort of friendship and also the disagreeing through friendship and talking about theology and talking about different things, I feel like the Wicked episode really highlighted that, because you have Chris, you would think that Kristy and I get along on everything. We get along on a lot of the fundamental stuff that I think friendship is based on, but like there are some stuff where she'll bring up like yacht rock and I'm like, or the Winter Olympics, and I'm like, this blows.
Or the Trinity.
Or the Trinity.
Yeah,
This blows. And I don't want to, I can't. I just talk to me in 9 days. You know how long it is till the Winter Olympics is over? 9 days. Why do I know that? Because I'm waiting
That's funny.
patiently.
That's funny.
patiently.
Yeah. So if I were to just link one or two down below, you think the Wicked episodes in the show description should be
Yeah.
exactly
So
what I like?
I
which
think-
ones do you like?
I would say, I think the one where we banished, I'm trying to find the actual title of it, but the Wicked episode is, I think, a really good one. And then I would say, hold on, I'm trying to find the title of it. Where we banish Augustine and John Calvin to the island.
Oh, Calvin. Oh,
Ooh.
bless.
Augustine and Calvin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think
They
I've
weren't a
listened to
good
that one.
time, Joshua. They just weren't
That's
a good
great.
time.
we banished
Yeah.
them to the
Banish
island.
wasn't necessary. Keeping in mind the other options are date and marry, so you really have to weigh that. It's not that we don't want to like read them, but John Calvin did shut down like all the pubs in Geneva, so we're
That's
already
Yeah.
We were like, John can't.
like, where are we going to go for? He's going to take me on a coffee date midday.
So boring.
not
Yeah.
He's going to be
Yeah.
really mad about like
Yeah.
short skirts and stuff.
It's
and I
also
don't have
an early episode, so you can like compare and contrast. Like,
it. We were
How did things go?
The
Episode
Redneck
2.
Martini episode is our first. So I would put those 3. Like the Wicked, the Banish, Miracle.
The Redneck Martini.
And the Redneck Martini was our
Redneck
very
Martini.
first episode.
That
And
sounds
that
awesome.
was a recommendation from Trip.
Trip tried to kill us.
And it's a North Carolina drink, and he tried to kill us, and we did it. It's Mountain Dew and what was it? Mountain Dew and vodka.
I mean, I'd try it. Why not?
I mean,
Penny.
go for it. It's terrible.
It's Mountain
I
Dew
hate
and
vodka, but I'd still do it.
and vodka. Yeah, it's Mountain Dew and vodka,
I
which
feel like
Leah
if it was
tried
tequila,
to shake
that would be better.
because Leah
Oh, I
put it in
tried
the
to shake
shaker and then she started shaking it. And then so the opening of the podcast is that
It's me shrieking.
she had told, or I
That's
think we were on FaceTime or something, and so I saw it just starts exploding
It does.
because she's.
I tried to be
shaking
really
a carbonated
professional
beverage.
and put it in the shaker, but I
And
forgot
so-
that it was Mountain Dew.
That's
We're
so
both just
funny.
like on the floor laughing.
Yeah. I feel like it sets the tone. So those are the 3 I would put up.
Yeah.
I think.
All right, cool. I'll say like for me too. For a while there, I was getting like frustrated with the network because I'm like, man, I keep wanting it to grow, and I don't know how to grow a network because like I don't do this, and like I don't know. In my mind, I was like, we just need more shows, and then won't be as frustrated. And I think what happened was like because like now I'm like, it'd be cool if we got a couple more shows, I guess. But like, I feel way more chill because I think you guys and then Paige and Pixel added like that female energy, and I think that's really where I was like, I needed that. Like, I feel like maybe my frustration was it was just too
Too many men.
clubby, you
Too
know?
many dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Too
It
many
was a
guys.
sausage fest, and
Yeah.
we needed to fix
Yeah.
it.
I don't even like guys that much.
Yeah.
So,
It was.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
and that's not
I
just
like
your network. That's just
That's
the
just
sort
kind
of
of how it
theology
is.
plots.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
that, and there's a lot of straight, cis men, white men doing theology. And honestly, are we just recreating the church here in the sense of like it's going to take a while to get some
Yeah.
diverse.
Well, and then the frustrating part to me personally, and this might just be my own personal feelings. I said personal too many times. It's fine.
It's okay.
I equally get annoyed when the Theo bros, because I feel like even like progressives have Theo bros. Like Josh
yeah.
is
Yeah.
probably it. Me and Josh
Yeah.
might be Theo bros. It's fine.
You are.
But, like,
it's okay.
I equally get annoyed when they bring like female leaders on, and it's very clear like the purpose was to show that there are girls out there, and I'm like, this is just as cringy
Yeah.
as you just having only dudes all the time.
Christy,
Yeah.
I know
We
it
have,
Yeah.
from certain
there-
circles being the token lady.
yeah.
Well-
there's tokenship that happens with a lot of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And it's funny
But
'cause,
it,
like,
it depends
I'm
on what kind of
for-
spirit you do it
Yeah.
with. And I think that's
Yeah.
important. It's like if you're like, you come out and you're like, hey, we're having you on because I recognize that there's a gap and I really want that. But I also want your knowledge and your insights. And yes, you are a woman, but you're also a theologian and you're someone who, that's
Yeah.
different than just being like, there's a lot of, swinging Richards over here and we could use some.
You're the
Yeah.
only woman we know, so can you?
George
pronounce-
O'Keefe. I try to use all the different metaphors for that.
I think the way you could tell too, though, is like the things that annoy me. I think what it is they'll have like a girl as part of a thing, and then they never really invite the woman to speak. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like you could tell based on
Yeah.
like the posturing, even though it's audio, that it's like that. Yeah, your intent was to show that you like women too.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm
she's
like,
very-
that was cringy and annoying. Because on Systematic Ecology, we did that where I was like, we have way too many dudes on. I'm not inviting another guy host. We need a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't like the first lady we saw, you're on the podcast. I was like, who do we know that we actually like talking to that meshes with our group? Because like, it's kind of like the host there, its own tight-knit community, I feel like, on Systematic Ecology. So we're like, we have like a big following, I guess, but like we kind of do it because we're friends at the same
Yeah.
time, and it's
And also, you need people on there that'll like. I mean, here's the thing about podcasts:
tell
you have
Christian
to
when he's
talk.
wrong.
You have to talk. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time I was on, I just was like, I'm just going to treat this like it's Theology on the Rocks. Like I'm just going to talk. And whatever one I was first on, I can't remember, but I probably was just like, no, you're wrong. And I think you need
That's
that.
exactly how it happens on Theology on the Rocks.
But you need confidence too. And I think what we see is to gender it as well is that oftentimes females or people of color or fill in the blank, we aren't confident in our own voices sometimes because there's been a dominant voice and that's not us. And so I think it's sometimes difficult. It's not just about finding a token fill in the blank. It's this idea that we have been taught throughout our own personal history to don't talk, and
or I think too it can turn into like she talked too much, or she was too shrill, or she has a vocal fry. She got hysterical, or she got bossy, or
it's
something
funny
like
going to conferences because when you see people who are having meltdowns, it's usually like the old ass professor man,
tenured men.
Yeah, he's having a meltdown in the corner,
and there's a woman just looking at him like, you have to be kidding me.
I think the worst thing I've done along these lines, I did to Leah though. I want to say that because it was systematic ecology. She had been on an episode where we talked about aliens, and we had some like fun, good episodes. I was like, man, I want to invite her on as a host. But part of the thing with systematic ecology is we have a lot of people from different beliefs and traditions and stuff, and like Christian's incredibly conservative, and I'm like, so I definitely set up an episode where I was like, me, Leah, and Christian are going to talk about our favorite female protagonist, and I'm like, I know where this is going to go, and I'm going to watch it happen and see if they can be friends. That was, and we were, and I was like, this is awesome. This was great.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty easy because he just was like, I think this. And I was like, well, I think you're wrong. And he was like, okay, so moving on. And if you listen to it back, that was in real time. Like we're actually talking about it. And I was just like, I mean, he's not going to change my mind and I'm not going to change his mind. Yeah. So it was just, but it was nice. And now we've done podcasts.
Yeah. It's so funny.
We've done more podcasts. We just did one the other day. Oh, the school spirits, and he was doing Fallout or something. And
Fallout. That was good.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Now we're just like, once you get, that's what you find about people with different theologies is that or political beliefs or fill in the blank. It's like, once you've set the precedent and you're like, look, you're not oppressing me. I'm not oppressing you. I'm not going to change your mind. You're going to change my mind. Let's just talk about something else. And that can be unity in itself. Like, I really do think that.
Yeah, it's crazy because I do think listening, I'm like, you and Christian do have like a kind of chemistry feels like the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Like you guys bounce off each other really well. I'm like, this is awesome.
We do. Well, when we start, fun. I'm like, okay, so we're doing an hour, and he's like, well, it's you and I, so we'll probably go over. And I was like, so I think absolutely. I think it's because we had that basis of like, there's no elephant in the room. And actually, I think what you did was correct. Now that's not going to work for everyone because we're older and we feel more confident in our thoughts or whatever. And we are used to meeting people who don't agree. But I do think what you built a kind of foundation where now we're just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's like a helpful unity advice for the episode. Like that needs to be like a bell or something of like, sometimes you just got to like get out there what you disagree about and move on. Like, it's fine.
I'm still going to put Reverend Doctor on my tag.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, you have to. Well, before I start doing our normal stuff, before we like, our normal ending stuff, we have a lot for some reason. You guys have written like a lot of books. Or at least I know Leah's written.
Leah has,
more than one book.
Leah is a robot.
Kristy has a book, right?
I do have a book. Yeah,
I know I didn't make that up. Like I know Kristy has a book.
I have a book. Yeah,
I don't read as much as Josh, but I'm like I know there was a book.
Yeah. She does.
So you guys want to tell us about how many amongst the two of you are there now?
Well, yeah. So I have one that has been published,
25?
and Leah has 20. No, she's got.
I've got
three
books.
Three books out.
I'm writing one now.
Number 4 is on the way. Number 5 is under contract.
So all right.
She's
So what's Kristy? What's the name of your book? We can plug that.
Mine is called Wounded Images. It is a discourse about the doctrine of the image of God, the Imago Dei. And I use the literature from an author named Jean Reese, who wrote, her most popular book was White Sargasso Sea, which is a retelling of actually so if you've read Jane Eyre, you know that Rochester keeps his wife in the attic. So it is from her perspective. But my book does not talk about that one. It talks about her other 4 novels. So it's just the ones that nobody knows about.
Can I tell you that I
That is
got
not
Jane,
where I thought you were building to.
I got Jane Eyre in my head mixed when I first saw Wuthering Heights, and I thought, is Jacob Elder Baba gonna put Margot Robbie in the attic? In my head, those 2 books got conflated, and I was like, he better not put her in the attic somewhere.
Don't put her in the attic. It's like don't put baby in the corner, but
Yeah.
like way
Don't
worse.
put Margot in the attic.
Don't put
Please.
her in the attic. Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
yeah. So it is literature and theology, which is my specialty.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. Maybe they'll talk about it on Page and Pixel. We gotta get them over there. Just start sending them books. They'll love it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Every podcaster loves when you just send things and expect them to
Here's
review
some
it.
books. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a book.
Leah, you've got 4 out, 1 coming. Tell us some about what you've written.
Yeah, I have 3 out.
You have 3 out. Yeah.
And I have 1 on the way.
I don't know how to count, so I don't have a doctorate. I have an excuse.
There's a lot.
I don't have
either.
a doctorate. I'm not expected to count.
That's why I put them behind me so that I don't forget, because I do forget. Yeah, so I've got my first book was based on my dissertation. It's called Embodied Peace Building, and it's really about it's quite niche. It's it's a PhD thing, but it's about Northern Ireland and peace building and theology. It's I will say my most systematic work, actually, because it deals with the idea of reconciliation, and I even quote Karl Barth in it.
I've read it.
Yeah, so that one's it's qualitative research, but it's also very systematic. Then I wrote Bad Theology, which is I'm just gonna live with that forever, I think. And I set up this criteria for Bad Theology. That's my criteria, and I'd use some historic examples. Then I have the Bad Theology and COVID, and that one is more contemporary stuff, and I still use the criteria that I had in the first one. And then my newest book is on the ex-gay movement, conversion therapy, where I've interviewed some folks who've gone through that. And I'm going to tell their stories from their perspectives, and then construct. It's kind of constructive theology in the sense is I'm going to construct what they used in order to justify the practices and what they told them. And interestingly enough, I'm finding that they use quite a Pentecostal means by which to. You spoke about Pentecostalism. It's very much a feeling, and they emphasize the feeling and not thinking in their worship services and practice.
Do they quote Frozen? Do they ever sing "Conceal, Don't Feel"?
They should.
Yeah.
Because I will say, in addition to the Bad Theology, their endeavors are not very successful. So there's a lot of concealing.
Yeah.
That
book's not
even
out yet, though, right?
The leadership.
Or is
what?
That book's not out yet, is it?
It's not, no, but it'll be out. Well, it's due July 1st, which is the day before my birthday.
Wow.
Well, you can pray for me. So if I like message you and I'm like, I can't do any podcasts for like 2 months, it's because I'm losing my mind.
That's fair.
Right.
I've been waiting on that one though, because I was like, I want to get you on here to talk about that. But
it's going to be a great book.
Relevant.
It's really good.
Near when the book
I've managed to get. I struggled for a while to get people to interview, and then it was a nice like kind of domino effect of getting people, and the stuff is just unreal. The information that I'm getting from them is unreal, and they all have very different circumstances, but the sort of themes that are coming out are the theological themes are wild. And the fact that it's still ongoing, those practices, and still legal somehow. Yeah, you can thank Albert, your friend Albert Mueller. He's not on the island yet.
Yeah, that's my 2.
We're putting him on the island.
What did you guys? What was it that you did? It wasn't Cast Out Why is my brain blanking right now? Banned?
We banished. Yeah, we
Banished.
banished from the island.
We didn't kill anybody. Those were the early days when we were trying to be nice.
Yeah.
We
Alma was
married.
one of my two.
We married. We dated, and we banished.
Banished.
Okay. Right,
Yeah.
good. Good stuff.
So John Calvin got banished real quick because he's not a good time.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
banishing Al Mohler and Thomas Aquinas, and everybody else we can have unity. We will figure it out somehow. But
Augustine was a rough ride, though. He was tough. That sounded not the way I wanted it to, but he's a tough breed. How about we'll say it? He's a tough breed.
Yeah.
I can find a couple things, enough things that I agree with that I feel like I could get along with him if I have to.
Yeah.
But on a date, see, this is romance.
No, not a date. Not that.
See, that's the problem.
I'm not playing that.
This is not theological agreement.
No, this is like, do you want to hang out with this guy?
Do you want to hang out with this guy?
But I got to tell you, as a woman, I super don't want to hang out with Augustine.
I gotta say, I don't want to hang out with Martin Luther either.
He'd be like, you suck.
I'm
a Lutheran who would not want to hang out with Martin Luther. I think that might be.
Martin Luther, he'd just be tortured. He'd be like
the stuff he said. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's too.
He'd be like, do you want to listen to Dashboard Confessional and drink some beer? And I'd be like,
who would be great on evangelicals is Martin Luther.
Martin Luther would be so good on evangelicals. I think we dated Gustavo Gutierrez. He made it. He was cute as well. So he made it.
I think my problem is if I hang out with somebody, I want it to be like low energy. And the low energy aren't the people that we write books about and remember.
No. That's true.
That's why I'm friends with TJ. Like, I might be high energy, but I want the people I'm around to be low energy because I want to not be so high energy.
That basically was my marriage vows, so I understand. If there was two of me in a relationship, we would burn this house to the ground.
This is why Leah and I say that we're twin flames born from hell.
And we are friends, but we
love each other.
We couldn't be married. I think
we would murder. Well, we would just die in implosion. I don't even think we would be like
little tornadoes just in the middle of the living room.
I don't think it would be like we would be.
We both just feel like this.
We would just like so much that we would die. We would just implode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, I'm lucky. I have two best friends. One in the podcast world, so I get to say his name, TJ, and the other isn't, and I don't say his name. But my other best friend that's not TJ, we could not live together. It would not work at all. I know because we were college dorm roommate-ish. We weren't even roommates, and I'm like, that wouldn't work.
That's not
TJ. I feel like TJ and I could be roommates, and it would be fine.
I feel like anybody can be roommates with TJ. I feel like I can be roommate with TJ because he'd just be like, "You want to go do this?" I'd be like, "No." He'd be like, "Cool, bye."
He's so chill.
Yeah.
He just
I hung out with him quite a bit at beer camp, and he really was just like
he was
if
so
Stuart
chill.
was 20, and was on like some real like weed. And I'm not saying that. I'm not putting that on TJ.
We're not accusing TJ. We're just saying.
No,
I'm just saying he just was like right.
He does have a really good stoner vibe.
He does. Yeah. He does.
Which is one of my favorite people. I love stoners. So
same. Yeah. And we're not projecting that to you, TJ, but you did. He'd be like, "Do you want to do this?" And I'd be like, "No," and he'd be like, "Okay." Like there was no fight back at all.
So funny.
Cool.
All right, so last question before we do like our ending segments here. Are there any questions that you guys like hope people ask you when you're at like on other podcasts or at events and stuff that you don't get asked like super often? Is there anything that you're like, man, I wish they would have asked me about?
I wish that people would ask me about my opinions on everything.
She really wants to, but she needs you to give humility. Her like 500 hours to answer. And don't make her limit it to one.
Don't make me choose.
The speed round is not for Kristy. She did not like.
That was great. Her face when you described what we were going to do was perfect.
I was watching it and I'm like, oh no, is this going to be trouble?
So hard.
She can do it.
It was fine. Y'all rocked it. It was great.
Yeah,
you did a great job.
I wish people would ask me more about probably like. Well, Joshua, we got to do it with the sports. Like I feel like I don't get to talk about sports a lot. And I know that sounds really weird, but like people ask me about pop culture, they ask me about politics, and they ask me about theology, but I don't really get asked a lot about that, and I think, but we have our sports geeks thing now, so that's more fun. We get to talk about it because when Kristy and I talk about sports, we both love sports.
We do.
We feel like we have to be quick because it's like, sorry.
Well, because Brian doesn't like sports, so
that's funny.
I feel like it's always fun to get asked stuff that.
Your questions were great, Joshua.
Yeah, thanks. They were really good. But like, we know something about it, but we never get to talk about it because it's not theology related. Like people ask us a lot of theology stuff.
I was like
ask me about curling because I can talk about that for a while right now. But
I know nothing about curling.
I
just know there's a broom.
I figured out why. We won't talk about that right now. But like,
see, this is what we do.
So for listeners' context, Leah mentioned Sports Geeks. That is a YouTube series on Systematic Ecology's YouTube if you want to check it out. Yeah. But I feel the sports thing especially because for a long time everybody thought that like my favorite fan thing was Star Wars, and like nobody really like even knew that I liked football. And the funniest thing was I think it's still true. No, last year was the first time I ever bought something Star Wars because everyone just buys me Star Wars things for like my birthday and Christmas because everybody is like, oh, he's a nerd, he likes Star Wars, so I just get Star Wars stuff. And I'm like, I like Star Wars, but everybody else gets me enough I don't need any more Star Wars. And then like last year I got a game. That was the first time because it was like $2 on Steam. That was the first Star Wars thing I ever bought.
Too. I think music would be fun to get more questions about because Kristy and I are big nerds about sports and music. Like we go to lots.
We love music. Yeah, like we're very into it
all the time. So it's like that would be really fun just to talk more about music.
Well, like not like some joyful noises. You guys can.
I know, but I mean, yes. Well, we could go on and talk about our old school love of CCM.
Yeah. I do sometimes. I'm like, the thing that kills me is I love some of these songs still. And it's funny how which ones have survived. Because some of the ones that like the music vibed with me the most, the lyrics are so bad that I can't make myself listen to it. And then there's some that I'm like, actually, lyric-wise, this is still okay. Like, I'm not going to look into this because I'm sure they mean something different than I want it to mean. But as long as I don't look into it, I could still survive this song.
Well, Trip texted me about 3 days ago, I think, and asked if I wanted to go see 5 Iron Frenzy, if you remember that band. They're coming to Greensboro.
That's so fun.
Josh Patterson's coming down from Baltimore, I think, as well to go. And I was just, it's Kristy when we're in Greenville. But yeah, so, and that's a band that I was like, I loved them. Like, I couldn't have told you at all that they were Christian because they're just.
There's so many bands that if you were like, what do you want to talk about this band? And I'd be like, for hours, like, or music in general. I love music and I have a really like long, deep relationship with music. And so it's like, yeah, we would, but
yeah. That's why we got Evangelicals. So so with the Evangelicals, is that like emo is like your favorite kind of subgenre of music?
No, I would say like mostly it's just that we identify as emo.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, like Josh and Jed for sed have the most like credentials in terms of emo-ness.
Yes, they dress in black and have tattoos.
Well, and also because Jed is I don't know if he still is, but he was in a band like cool participate, but he mostly did like metal music, I think. But like Evangelicals, I would say, is more about the vibe being very emo than that. We don't talk about music every episode. Sometimes we talk about.
Sometimes they just cry.
A million things.
An hour and a half.
We just start crying. So yeah, so it's a really, I mean, again, very unscripted, unplanned, just but like it doesn't tend to be. They just did an episode. I wasn't there for it and was very mad, and I texted Josh several messages about how mad I was about it. Where they just played each other music that they've been into lately. And I was fuming because I was like, I have so much stuff I want to play, and we have to redo this whole episode so that I can be there.
Humble.
So, yeah, I'm very humble. Yeah.
They have to redo this.
I have massive FOMO.
Yeah. Or they're just an episode where they exclusively have to listen to your
It's just me.
Like that's
Yeah.
She would love that.
Love it. If I could just voice all of my music onto you.
Yes, she would love that.
Do you have a favorite genre then?
I'm really like mostly like indie alt rock. So emo fits really well into like I love emo stuff, but indie alt rock would be like how I would define it mostly. Yeah.
Leah,
but I'm a big fan of everything. I like almost everything. I like everything.
I don't like everything. I think that's insane to say that phrase.
Yeah.
You don't like polka.
Hey,
polka is great. I'm here for polka. Actually, this is funny because you said that because my grandma used to make us go to the Polish festival all the time, and they would just be playing polka music. So I'm really fond of
well, I don't. Certainly indie music and like a little bit of prog rock, I would say, progressive rock, and probably alt rock too. I agree. I'm big into the 90s right now.
You like sad girl music?
I do.
Yeah, I love sad music. Like
me too. I want to feel
my
really
favorite Christian song is actually about suicide.
Leah is a Swiftie.
Me too.
Might surprise you.
I mentioned it that I like Taylor Swift, so I'm not like in the closet about it or anything. But I don't know that I've told Kristy this a bunch, is I love Taylor Swift, and I'm like definitely like following all the things. But I don't know that I have enough money to be a Swiftie. Like I'm not sure that I have that like level of finances to be able to go.
That's fair.
And like buy all 7
editions. Has none of the cardigans. So
I don't own a cardigan. Yeah. All editions of like the Midnight So You Can Make the Clock. I don't have 12.
I love her music though.
No, she's a fantastic songwriter. And people who say they don't like her, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I mean, this is probably why me and Christian get along. I'm like, cool, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I have 3 of her albums on vinyl. I keep pointing because they're right there. But I'm really folklore evermore. Like that's where I hit my spot with her, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's just those 2 albums.
I love those 2. Those 2 are great.
Yeah, Joshua, maybe she'll come to one of our Carolinas and we can go but you have to dress up.
Oh, I will.
I did go to the Eras tour, which is hilarious.
She did and I didn't, so I'm not a real Swiftie here. You went to the movie. I didn't even go to the movie. Well, this is what I will say is that I was taken to both of those things. So no one even took me.
That's funny. Yeah. I married someone who loves music, and I was one of those who grew up with, if that song isn't by Disney Animation or say the word Jesus, you can't listen to it.
Oh.
So I'm like just discovered who Sugar Ray was like a couple years ago. Like I was like super under.
Probably where that needs to stay.
So I'm like, this is wild. Like the whole world of music is wild to me. I think my favorite genre is folk. I like the folk stuff.
Folk
I love folk music. Bob Dylan.
I can send you a whole bunch of folk music.
I love Passengers so much. Like
Passengers great.
Yeah.
Kristy will play folk music at you for 2 hours and let you listen to her thoughts on
that. Sounds awesome. I'll do it. Do it.
I believe that you would do it, but I don't think that you should.
No, I don't think you should either.
I mean, I definitely would, but I think my favorite thing though is like folk is my favorite, but because like, you know, every now and then my Spotify thing is just so wrong because like we do podcasts and I interview people who do music. So every now and then it's like this one Christian artist is your 3rd top artist of the year. And I'm like, no, it's because like I mostly listen to podcasts. And there was 1 month where I really listened to this person because I had to interview him. That's it.
You should see Stuart and I share a Spotify. We share nothing else. So we're not that couple, but I don't want to pay for it. And he does. So we share that. Our Spotify rap.
It's so funny.
Hilarious.
It's so funny.
He listens to like My Chemical Romance and like screaming like, and then it'll just be your top artist was Taylor Swift.
That's great. My
And then,
favorite.
like Taylor Swift, 30 Seconds to Mars. I'm like, what?
Gosh, I think my favorite was like 2 or 3 years ago when I was working at Shutterfly. I might technically be in the Epstein files. I was worked at Shutterfly.
Whoa.
Well, because the whole company was owned by him apparently. Anyway,
Oh.
so
No, I did not know.
I had to be there at like 3 or 4 in the morning a lot of days, and it was like an hour-long drive. So I'm like dead asleep, and I discovered that sea shanties kept me awake really well.
Yeah.
So my top genre one year was, in quote, just said pirate
sea
music. And I was like, pirate music. What an accomplishment.
Pirate music.
Amazing. For 2 years now, because of my dog, my top genre has been dog calming music. So
That's wonderful.
Christy and I both
No.
have a thing that recognizes when Alexa hears or whatever hears the dog barking. Stuart set ours up to do the same thing that yours says. It says 0, shut up. Because it can hear the dog barking.
yeah,
So
mine goes,
funny.
"Hey Penny," and then it plays dog calming music.
Oh,
And
ours says 0, shut up.
so Penny and I
That's so
share
funny.
an account, and therefore my top genre has been dog calming music for years.
That is so funny. I last thing, and then I'm gonna start doing these in segments because
Okay.
this is going to be the longest episode of Whole Church, and it's because TJ wasn't here. Blame him, everybody.
Well, also it's because we're delightful and funny.
Yeah,
It's
because
we're
it's
amazing
wonderful.
and very
But
humble.
I do want to. Also, I think there's so many things that I like. This is one of my favorite things about TJ, and this is why we're like friends, because I'm like, this guy's awesome.
Joshua,
He
we're
had-
starting to
I
feel
don't know if he's still-
insecure about your relationship with TJ right now. We are right here in front of
Listen,
you.
It's fine. It's fine. Listen, I know you guys like each other more than either of us.
Well, we don't
Okay.
talk about it though. We actually,
Okay,
have,
but
we actually
anyway,
have talked about it quite a bit.
TJ, I don't know if he still does, but he used to have, like, he created a playlist specifically so that it would be such a mix of music so that his rap at the end of the year wouldn't be all like one thing. So he
Feels
just
like
has
that
like
defeats the
a
purpose
really wild,
rap.
yeah. I don't know.
Funny.
I
That
think
is
it's funny
Because
though.
you just
Like,
want
wow,
to put it on his. It feels like a 20-something-year-old thing to
it
do.
might be.
You just want to put it on his Instagram or whatever
Uh-huh.
that you so that people are
I-
like, you're cool.
I know somebody who figured out how to make it so that their Spotify Wrapped would be a certain order as well, and it was like
That's
to
nice.
spell out a word or something. I can't remember.
That's
but,
too
like,
much.
it's
That's
a lot of
I know-
effort.
I don't
That's a
remember
lot
if it
of
was
work.
him or one of his friends, but somebody got their Spotify Wrapped where it had more minutes than there were minutes in the year because they had multiple devices playing at the same time,
Oh.
like all year.
I was
I
like,
don't know. It was like, it's crazy. I was like, wow, good job.
it'll be
Anyway.
Stuart will be walking to work and I'll have podcasts that I've been listening to because I do listen to everyone's podcast or Taylor
Aw.
Swift, and he'll just be like, well, okay, but we can't, because you can't play on the same, if you share an account, you can't play two at the same time. So he'll just be listening to something.
It's just because you have a cheap version.
You
You have to upgrade.
you're not insulting me. I don't
No,
own it.
Stuart,
I don't.
Stuart,
Stuart-
upgrade your Spotify.
Okay, well, it'll just say like one day he was cleaning and I could see that he was listening to Spotify and I could see he was listening to the music he does. So I just put the K-pop Demon Hunters on from my phone. I was like in the
That's
bathroom getting
fantastic.
ready and I just was like,
That's so funny.
and that's what you
I-
call being 40, kids.
That was that's funny though. The I realized that my top podcast, it's like been the same thing for like 3 or 4 years, and Systematic Ecology makes it, but Whole Church never does. But then one year I realized it's all the podcasts that have more than one episode a week are usually the
Oh.
ones in my top 5. There's only one that only releases weekly. That's in my top 5.
Well,
So
but
that
we're
I was
number
like-
one. We're number one, clearly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I don't.
Because you got to re-listen to our
I plead
voices
the
to
fifth.
feel better about life.
But y'all don't even release one every week.
No,
Because there's like
we
seasons.
try.
Yeah.
but we are
Try.
we are not
But
great.
come to find out, the world is making us work jobs.
I know.
God.
And
People
occasionally we
just
have to
need
go
to
places.
pay y'all to do podcasts.
Yeah,
Everyone
Yes,
listening just needs to mail you checks directly.
Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
That's all.
Yes. Christy, we'll give Christy's address out.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna segue to this, but like
just do
Go
it.
for it.
one of the things we like to do before wrapping up is to ask our guests if they had to provide a single tangible action that people could go do, like right now, that would help better engender church unity, what one action would you recommend? And I know Kristy doesn't like being put on the spot, so Leah, you're on the spot.
I mean, no big deal. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get along, y'all. Have a drink.
That is a tangible action. Have a drink.
It is. But some people don't, I suppose. I mean, it kind of goes back to what we talked to in the podcast, which I think is, if you know someone who fundamentally disagrees with you and who is not oppressing your communities, other communities, and that's real key. I want to put that in there. Because if you're just being a jerk, again, 6, I haven't cursed. I think that have a chat with them. I talked about that in the embodied peace building, and just lay it out. And but don't avoid them. I think what we do is we avoid conversations a lot. And again, if this person's not oppressing you or other communities and they simply hold a belief that's different, Kristy and I try to embody this in our podcast, is have a chat, disagree, move on, talk about something else. As long as it's not fundamentally damaging to yourself or others.
Yeah, I was going to say similar, just have dinner with people.
Food. I stand by food and drink being key.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, it
Even
ties
if it's
back
not alcoholic.
full circle. It ties back to your scripture at the beginning is, they were despondent and didn't know what to do and were probably disagreeing. Can you imagine the disagreements about the law or whatever? And the guy was like, he didn't say well, let's go have a summit and chat. He said, let's go drink and eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, let's party.
Let's party.
Let's party.
I'm into it.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Because if I'm remembering right, that's about the part near there is where scripture says they heard the word and they had never heard it before, which is also why I'm of the opinion that Ezra was one of the redactors of the Torah, but that's a different podcast for some other time. Because I'm there's a reason there was stuff they never heard before, and if that's the case, there was.
Yeah, the word law is interesting there. This idea that they had, I found that a bit confusing when you're reading it, because it's they'd never heard the law. The Israelites had they just, that's an interesting turn of phrase here.
Yeah, and for more on that, look up Richard Friedman. I think he's a Jewish scholar, but he talks. He's the one that's convinced me Ezra might have been one of the redactors of the Torah. So anyway, moving forward. Sorry, that's not. I just get distracted too easily. This is a TJ part. I don't know how to do this. If people took your advice, if people went out, they ate, drank, they spoke their disagreements, and then moved on, what would we see change in our churches or in the world around us, you think?
I think that there would be a lot more community being built. We have a really unfortunate kind of individualist society. And I think that it's really important we start actively working towards that. So if people get out and you interact with people all around you, honestly, your neighbors, just start meeting your neighbors. Community building happens, and then we understand each other better. We can solve disagreements better. We can support each other better. All of that stuff just starts naturally happening when you leave your couch, which I'm not great at all the time, but is important to do.
Yeah. I don't like to leave my couch, so I just invite people to me and then I cook.
That's great.
That's the
deal. Hosting is so important, though.
Great.
Yeah.
They talk about it a lot. The eating and the drinking and the hosting is talked about a lot in the text, and yet we don't talk about it, unlike other topics. We don't talk about that very much, and I think that's interesting. Some of the stuff that gets repeated a whole lot, almost like it's important, we don't give as much emphasis as other things, which are mentioned maybe once or twice, and we give a lot of importance.
Yeah. That's so the people who do the Holy Post, like Sky Jathani, Phil Vischer, all of them, they're more conservative than I am, but I still they're not hard conservative. I think one of my favorite things that they bring up is how early church, the big sin that we are all afraid of is not being unified. And now I think Sky Jathani's term for it is crotch theology, and it's all about what's going on between your legs, and it's that just wasn't what the church really focused on for most of its existence.
Yep.
So maybe we could say that's not classical theism. I'm sorry.
I
apologize.
It's almost like
it's not a real term.
It's almost
maybe
a real
perhaps
term.
I don't know. So the actual last thing we do before wrapping up is our God moment. We just talk about somewhere we've seen God recently, or the divine, however you want to word it. It's cool. TJ likes to make me go first. He's not here, so now I have to go first. But I ditched last week early, so he had to go first, and I won one, and that was great. That's my God moment. Is last week I didn't have to do my God moment. No. Actually, there's been a lot of health issues with my mother-in-law recently, and not even like religious-wise, just like the people we know. There was just more support than I think we realized, and also things weren't as, I don't say it as serious. They weren't as emergent. They weren't as much as emergency as we thought they were. But just knowing that there was more support than we thought there was has been huge. And just seeing God and all the people who are stepping up to help out is, to me, that's big. So that'll be my God moment this week. See, now I'm always afraid to put Kristy on the spot. I feel like I always have to make Leah.
I was going to go ahead and go because she's muted and Penny's losing her mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So my God moment is I'm currently teaching a course where I'm learning a lot more. You always learn stuff from students. Well, I say always very loosely, but
yeah, I've never learned anything from a student.
You tend to, if you're a professor. But there's something about this particular class that I'm teaching, and we're analyzing a lot of, it's called The Different Faces of Jesus. So we're analyzing a lot of movies and literature on the different ways Jesus is understood. And I'm just learning a lot from them and their perspectives, and how they respond to certain things. Usually if you're a professor, like you kind of can predict how students are going to respond to certain bits, whether that's readings or movies or whatever media. And they're surprising me every week. And I think that's, to be surprised as a professor who's taught now, I think I'm in like 15 or 16 year at this stage. That's pretty rare, I think. And so I'm really appreciating them, and I feel like it's a God moment because it's giving me, I feel like maybe I've been in a little bit of a bubble. So even liberal people and can be in a bubble. And I think they're not even saying anything that's like denominationally crazy. It's just that are not within the realm. It's just that they're giving me perspectives that I feel like maybe I'd been in a bit of a rut. And I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
God's bigger than our bubbles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can't help myself. Are y'all watching Ben-Hur or Risen by chance?
What?
Is there a new Ben-Hur?
Ben-Hur.
There's two Ben-Hur. But yeah.
No.
I've seen one.
He's only in it briefly. That's why I was like, I feel like probably not. I was just curious. That, I think, if I remember right, Ben-Hur was like the first book that the Catholic Church officially was like, this book deserves to be amongst us, even though it's not Bible. I forget the exact term. There was something. Ben-Hur was like...
He talked about the Jesus in media and how it's a dangerous thing and how Ben-Hur kind of got around that because it allowed for a Jesus story without it being Jesus. Yeah. Take note.
Risen does something similar, but I feel like it's more evangelical than I would wish. But I like how Jesus is portrayed in the moments we see him. I was just curious. I'm sorry. I apologize. I am king of getting off the rails. Kristy, do you have a God moment for us?
Yeah, I which is why I did my PhD the way I did, but I've been reading a lot that has just felt like it's been really kind of speaking to me in terms of connection and things like that and different ways to see the world. And I just feel like I'm in a phase of books being able to build community in various ways, which this is not intentional, but side note, we do have a banned book club that every week or every month that we do it is one of my favorite things that we do. And so I'm really looking forward to that every month, but this month in particular, because we're reading The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. And it's been such a great experience to dive back into her work and things like that. But yeah, a lot of the books I've read lately have just been really good kind of spiritual experiences.
Yeah.
Stuart's in our band club, and it's cool because it forces, because he has the ADHD as well, and it forces him to sit and read. And we've always talked about wanting to have a band book club, or not a band, but a book club, just the two of us. And we lasted through half of one book. And so it's kind of nice that we have that set
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. What's crazy is I've heard y'all talk about that before. It's one of those things. I have a few of these things at work, but I don't know what all I'm allowed to say about work on air for everybody, so I won't. But like, there's just these things sometimes. Actually, it happened on Systematic Ecology is the funniest because I write the outlines and then someone will ask a question and I'll be like, oh, that's good. Like I forget that it happens, and then every time I'm like, whoa. Actually, that is Wuthering Heights. We've had the same conversation 4 times, me and my wife, where I'm like, that sounds interesting. What's that about? And she's like, I've told you exactly what this movie is 3 times before. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, going to actually wrap this up. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say TJ's lines somehow successfully, maybe. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with a friend, an enemy, or a cousin, especially a cousin. Go to our website, perhaps, if you want. Not forcing you. Buy a t-shirt. Doing that helps us raise money, get awareness out, etc. Makes people listen to the podcast by force if you wear the merch. I think that's how it works. Check out the other shows on the Anazao Podcast Network. Theology on the Rocks. Whole Church. We're part of a bigger network, so you can see Systematic Ecology. Leah and I are both over there. Maybe Kristy will be on some Joyful Noises with me one day. We'll see. And I don't know. We mentioned Brandon a couple times. He's got a couple cool shows. And Page and Pixel are the other new show. So check stuff out. Go to the website. It's worth it. I promise. We hope you enjoyed this one. And coming up, we're going to be talking with Andrew Fouts from Open Doors Canada about Christian persecution around the world today and what their organization is doing with that kind of stuff. After that, we're going to have Jim Stump from BioLogos join us to discuss his book, The Sacred Chain, and some of the ways that science might be able to bring the church closer together. Then we're having on Mike Morelli to discuss his work with his podcast, The Personalist Manifestos, and other stuff. After that, we'll have another roundtable discussion coming up on topics of how church engages with society. We'll be talking about like social justice, Christian nationalism, etc., with Aaron Simmons, Ben Chica, Jill Elizabeth, and a few others. So it'll be a fun time. Finally, at the end of season 1, Francis Chan will be on. He doesn't know about it though, so someone has to tell him, possibly force him to join us, because I don't know if he'd even want to at this point. But just let him know. Maybe he'll just show up. We'll see. And until next time, later, I guess. Yeah, that sounds right.